Hey, good morning. This is May Valensky with Driving Markets. Also, anything said in this piece in opinion only. I'd like to welcome all our Southeast Asia and Australia viewers and clients. I know it's late in the afternoon, so it's good afternoon to you. Okay, so let's kick off. Effectively, the markets dropped yesterday significantly, mostly on the fear of the banking crisis. Now, I keep harboring on over and over again about the banking crisis. It's not going away. So I just want to make it clear. Pac West, okay, Pacific West, American Regional Bank is finished. Its shares dropped 50%. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to go bust. It's going to end up being taken over by one of the top tier banks, or being bailed out by the Fed. Maybe bailed out by the Fed, not too sure about that, because the Fed doesn't want to be seen to be bailing out any banks. So what they'll do is they'll come up with an FIDC, Federal FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation deal with one of the top tier banks. They'll sweeten the deal, get rid of the debt, hide a few, I don't know, get rid of some corporate bonds, and the deal will be to buy the bank pretty cheap. But West Bank is only one of the banks in trouble, okay? So a lot of the regional banks are in trouble, and you'll see throughout the next few months that most of them will declare some sort of strategic option or merger, or being sold, or worst comes to worst, going bankrupt. Going bankrupt is probably not really an option, because the Fed doesn't want to frighten financial markets by more banks going bust. But there's going to be a run on the deposits, and the account holders now are going to be very, very scrutinizing to see what is happening with that particular bank, and are their deposits safe. Now, they do have the FDIC backing, which I said yesterday has got really no money behind it, but they've got that sort of mental security that the deposits up to $250,000 are secure. Now, the question is, will this be contagious? Will there be contagion across the world as a result of second-tier regional banks in the US failing? Probably unlikely, but if it starts impacting tier 1 banks, then it is going to have a significant impact. Remember, I have said before that in Europe, for example, the two biggest banks in Europe that are really in trouble is Deutsche Bank, which is one of the top 10 banks in the world, that has absolutely huge debt, and BNP Paribas, which is huge, second biggest bank in Europe, and that's also in trouble. So if it was to impact the top tier 1 banks, then yeah, you would see those banks begin to tumble very, very quickly. So the banking crisis is not going away. The Fed, Jerome Powell, in his statement said, they're going to stop raising, or it looks like they're going to pause increasing rates going forward. That was mainly due to the fact that they're worried about the economy, worried about the banking crisis. Okay, we've got to be absolutely clear. They really would prefer to raise rates further, but they're worried that the economy won't be able to absorb those rates and survive. So that's really the strategy and the mentality behind why they didn't raise rates. It's not because inflation's under control. Inflation is not under control, as stated many times. Looking onto other sectors, the Nasdaq was down yesterday. Again, high-tech sector is susceptible to recession. If there's a recession, there's a problem. Apple beat expectations, beat forecasts, so their shares jumped up. Apple is a huge company, and somehow they always seem to beat expectations and keep on manufacturing results or manufacturing products. Now, the problem is that Apple, as I stated previously on several other times, they're not innovative. Okay, so they're just redesigning the iPhone, but for some reason you've got these crazed people that just cronies that want to follow Apple and just buy all these iPhones. It's basically the same model since the iPhone 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not really changed, just the speeds changed, or the processors changed, etc. So the actual design has not changed. So Apple is an interesting one, but they do manage to beat expectations, and they're up there. Regarding companies that could be affected, I would have said this: Facebook could be affected, Amazon obviously could be affected by a major recession, because they are totally dependent either on advertising revenue or obviously on sales. The thing that pushed the market, what concerned the market, was the report this week of the job openings. Okay, the job openings and layoffs turnover. So the job openings in the US came in much higher than expected, and that will concern the Fed, as there is a worry also of wage inflation. Now, if you're going to have wage inflation, you're going to have consumer inflation, CPI, then, and rates are not going to go up, and there's going to be a banking crisis and a potential recession. You're talking a mess. You're talking the whole thing is going to be cataclysmic when it comes to that. Anyhow, shortened version today. You can share, subscribe, comment. Always look for good feedback, whether it's good feedback, negative feedback. Any feedback's fine. Catch me also on Instagram and TikTok. This is Mayor Valensky with Driving Markets. Have a good day.